Welcome to another episode of the Steal a Moment podcast with me, Michael Lebois. Today's guest is the bassist of A Breach of Silence, Blair Layt. They're my boys out of Brisbane, Australia, up in Queensland. This episode was recorded in September, so there's some information in there that's a little bit dated. I did tag where it is a tad bit dated as we do talk about the coronavirus, but we talk about it a little bit in terms of how it'll affect the music world, what it's done in terms of performances and shows, and how it really kind of impacted the overall feel of concerts, and what it could potentially mean for international travel, and what they're potentially trying to do in other places besides the United States. With that being said, though, everything else, guys, thank you from the bottom of my hearts for those of you coming back after a week off. The channel grew a little bit while I was away. We're now 8 subs away from our goal of 50 subscribers by the January 1st episode, which is in about 4 weeks, which I'm super excited about. Also, as of the recording of this yesterday, Gunpowder Empire released the new video for Through Bloodshot Eyes. I would love it if you guys take some time out. If you haven't already, go and watch that video. If you've seen it, watch it again, share it with your friends, get it around. A huge thank you to Travis Owen of Averse to the End, Lucky Number Productions, and Project Vela for shooting it on such short notice, and as well as previous podcast guest Scott Yule for all of his light work. If you guys haven't, go check out his YouTube channel. That'll be my YouTube shout out of the day. Go check out Scott's channel. It's growing immensely. He's over 1,000 subscribers right now, and the guy is absolutely killing it. If you are a musician yourself and need any question or have any questions about any tech, any equipment, any of the nature, please head over to Scott's page. He's got great insight on different tools and tricks that he uses, different items that he really respects and loves. So if you guys do that, that would be great. Thank you very much. Also, if you're listening to this on the Apple podcast format, Google, Spotify, Stitcher, please rate and review this. I want it to be seen by more people, and I would love to watch this podcast grow. If you're watching this on YouTube, like, comment, and subscribe. Like I said, 50 subscribers is the goal for January 1st, and then we'll start the next goal from there and see what we can do. Another fun fact about this episode is that Blair is in Brisbane, which is a 17-hour time difference from Denver. So we really had to plan and maneuver this, and this is exactly why I'm glad I can do this on Zoom. We have a blast every time we have a chance to talk about things, and I'm a huge fan of what Blair and the boys at A Breach of Silence are doing. They're great guys, and actually going to hopefully have more members from that band on the show here in the next few months if possible. I'm so excited to have this opportunity to talk to such an awesome dude, my Thor lookalike, my low-end brother, my boy from down under. And with that being said, Blair and I would like to steal a moment.
Hey, buddy, how are you?
Holy crap, dude. What's going on?
Not much, man. Not much. Just sitting there chilling out. What about you?
Just
got done having dinner with the girlfriend and her family who are hiding right now.
Excellent.
Yeah, man, it's good to hear from you, man. It's been a hot minute. It's been
Yeah,
fucking forever.
it has been a long time. Yeah, a lot of things have passed and have happened since then, man. What's been going on with you?
Oh, not too much. Just to let you know, I'm recording already, so we're just gonna go into this.
Too easy.
Because easy as fuck is how I like to roll, brother. A lot's changed, man. I got a new band. I got a girlfriend. I'm living in a flat in downtown Denver now.
Awesome.
Yeah, man, it's been crazy. Still talking to the Red Tide guys a bunch, and they have a new name and a bunch of new shit happening there. But just doing this now for fun. I'm broadcasting sports as well. I'm a play-by-play guy now, so.
That's awesome, man. It sounds like you're really enjoying yourself.
Yeah, I'm having I'm having a surprisingly good couple of years. I can't complain. What about you? How are things going on your front out in the wonderful, crazy Australia lands right now?
Yeah, man. Things are actually really, really awesome here too. We're coping well with COVID and all that nonsense. I'm luckily in Queensland, the state of Queensland. I'm in Brisbane. So in Queensland, we shut our borders off to the rest of the states earlier in the year. And they did the same thing, but
right.
we were one of the lucky states where our numbers went down and have stayed down this whole time. So life for us hasn't really changed that much apart from the general usual stuff that everyone's been doing. But apart from that, man, A Breach of Silence has been sort of chilling out lately. We've just been casually writing the 4th album.
Nice.
So while we can't be playing shows and all that sort of stuff, we've just sort of been taking the time, making sure that we love it. So we're not rushed or anything like that. We were set to record with Mark Lewis back in April, but that obviously didn't happen.
Right.
So we were pretty bummed about that, but we were lucky because we also hadn't finished the album.
It's kind of nice to have that option, right?
Yeah, that's it, man. So we've just been sort of pushing through with that and doing that sort of stuff, and also just sort of living our own lives a bit too, just really taking it easy. So I'm a TAFE teacher now.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I teach plumbing at like a college.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I've stepped up to a much more corporate sort of role.
Did they make you cut? They didn't make you cut your hair, did they?
No, God no, man. No.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. I was worried about that one, man.
See if this works. The bandwidth down here sometimes can suck. So
okay.
Can you see me?
Yeah, I can. There you are. There's that beautiful face.
What's going on, boys? Yeah. Oh, look where we are too. I just remembered. Look where we are. We're right behind the big banner.
Oh my God. Oh, it's so awesome.
Oh man.
So for a little bit of backstory on this, Blair and I met. God, it's been what, fucking 4 years now? Is it longer than that even?
It was in end of 2014, start of 2015. So like 5 years, 6 years.
Wow, man. So 6 years ago, I was in a band called Red Tide Rising. For those of you who haven't watched it yet, I'll find some way to put it on here to go watch the Andrew Whiteman episode. I had Android on as a guest, as one of the guests, because they changed their name to Anti-Saint, and they're now a trio, and they're fucking killing it. They got a new drummer, Glendon Crane, who is part of a bunch of different projects. He's involved in that now, and I left to go do my own thing, and now I'm working in media and trying to be a cool musician guy and podcaster and all this shit. So, but that banner that you see over Blair's shoulder there was the banner we hung every night. Every night we could fit it into one of the venues on a drowning pool tour. Oh man, that was so much fun. Those were the days, dude. Those were great.
That was a good tour, man.
It was. It was one of those memories that I'll never forget because we toured with Drowning Pool and then Like a Storm, and I just remember you guys being a little cranky about Like a Storm with the didgeridoo and the but the redemption story, that my favorite part is you coming up there and singing I think it was Thunderstruck with them.
Yeah.
That's right. That's awesome, man. So talk a little bit about, I mean, you guys are you talked a little bit about the band right now. what else are you guys are getting ready to write the fourth record, record the fourth record. Are you guys still with Eclipse?
Yeah, we sure are. So we have a good relationship with them. Yeah, there's nothing really much to say about that. Nothing's really changed in regards to a relationship with us and them. So they've been great to us. They've done so much for us over the years, and they're really cool with us sort of acting really casually right now. They're not really on our backs to have this album out or anything like that. They just know that we'll get it done in our own time. So yeah, Eclipse Records are fantastic, man. Chris runs a really good ship down there. So
yeah, and they've put out some really good shit, and they have some fantastic bands, people that are still doing great things. I'm glad to hear that you guys still have that good relationship with them. I know that's important to keep those relationships built, especially in a time like this where we can't play shows right now. We can't do a whole lot in that. You guys are still affected by that, it sounds like, as well. Do you have any idea when you guys could be returning to playing live again?
We can play shows now if we want to. In Queensland especially, and some other states of Australia, shows are happening again, but you have to socially distance. So it's, the social distances are it's like nearly 2 meters apart kind of thing. So venues that were 800 capacity have gone down to like 50 people now.
It's so weird.
So it's like, one side of the coin, it's not very sustainable, right? So you can run that business for not very long before you have to, start making more money to pay rent.
Right.
And also it's kind of like with heavy metal, it's meant to be this time of debauchery, you know what I mean? Where everybody is in there for the same reason. You're all packing in and you're bumping arms with everyone and you're just in a mosh pit and enjoying yourself. That's what metal's about, live, you know what I mean? And then you go and see a show that's like metalcore or something like that, and there's people sitting down at tables like a respectable jazz club, you know what I mean? And it's just kind of weird, it's cool that it's happening, because if it wasn't that, that's our only option, it's either that or nothing. So, but I'm still finding it really hard to adjust to going to heavy metal shows where it was so fast paced and debaucherous and oh my God, am I going to get a bruise or break an arm tonight? To sitting down and it's table service.
Yeah, it's a change.
Yeah, that's it. And the whole game's changed. So I'm just taking a bit to get used to that. You know what I mean?
I can imagine. I mean, so in Colorado, we're in, I believe, what we call in America stage 4. So venues are still closed, but bars that have capacity for music can have shows. So we did an acoustic show for the first 30 people who showed up, and then they would live stream to whomever could watch it on Facebook and Twitch and wherever they were streaming it. And and it was great. It worked out well. It succeeded for what it was, but it just doesn't have the same feel. You don't get the energy that you get from a crowd. You don't get the same vibe, especially when we're used to playing to 200, 300 people in a packed house this close to you. And you can feel the heat radiating off the person in front of you. Now they're 25 feet or we're looking at 6 meters away from each other now. And it doesn't have the same feel.
You're right. But maybe this is just a time, well, it 100% is just a time of change. You know what I mean? And is it going to be the permanent norm? I think it might be. You know what I mean? It looks like this thing isn't going away for a long time. And if it does, then something else is going to pop its ugly head up soon after. So this is a thing that we do now. It's, like I said, whether we find a cure for COVID, I think we're still going to have to be wary about this. So there still might be rules in place. I'm not sure. But maybe our next generation coming through, this will be the norm. So it's just us that are going to find it hard. We're going to be the old disgruntled baby boomers in our 60s going, I remember when Bring Me the Horizon was a deathcore band.
You listen to Shadow Moses and you like it.
Yeah, so I don't know, it might just be life, dude. It's a fun ride sometimes.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think about it. Like, we as a generation have been fortunate to have the opportunities to have and watch the development of the music industry as a whole. I mean, if you think about it, when we were growing up, because you and I are about the same age. You're in what? How old are you again?
I'm 35.
Yeah, so we're the same. We're in the same age group. When we
Yeah.
started listening to music, we were still listening to cassette tapes and then CDs.
Yeah.
So
You're
we've
right.
we've watched, generations before us have watched the massive shift from vinyl to essentially having a million songs on a phone this big. We've seen the change of music now. How are you guys handling the shift of the world of music now? I know you said you guys are recording an album. Are you planning on releasing singles before you release the whole record? How are you planning on breaking that out?
So we would probably be at the mercy of what Eclipse would do, essentially.
Good
But
point.
they would probably still have CDs optional. Like they would still have them available. But I just don't know if they would be mass producing them, as much as they would used to. So us as a band, Eclipse doesn't control us in our country. Like we have our own control in Australia. So we probably won't be producing any CDs straight away. We might, that might change. I'm not sure, but like, it's a tough one because we still have CDs in stock from our like last albums. You know what I mean? And it's like, there's not heaps there, but they're still there. And it's like, they're probably going to stay there for a while. You know what I mean? Unless something huge happens, you know what I mean? And people start going through our back catalog, and that's cool, whatever. But we might get 1,000 or so printed. You know what I mean? Like everyone just buys it digitally now, so 1,000 might be a safe number to start out on. You know what I mean? But yeah, like it's one of those tough questions that bands have to ask themselves now. Like how much physical stuff do we devote our costings to make it viable, but it's still like no one wants to make that leap and not do any CDs at all yet. No one wants to be that band.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the issue we're running into, as well as like, we don't know if, because when you play live, it's great to have stock on hand, but you don't know if anybody's going to buy them. Do you start purchasing, digital codes that to have for distribution? Like that's where the direction starts to come questioning. And the second side of that is it's tough to release albums now because people are so single centric, and it seems like albums don't get released as often. It's now like this band will release, specifically in the metal genre, it seems like bands will release 3 singles and then they'll attach 2, like they'll grab 2 more songs and make a 5-track EP. Have you guys ever considered that model?
Like we have, to answer, like the short answer, no. We haven't really given that side of thing too much thought. But when we have, it's been like, it hasn't been something that has been completely viable to us. We made an album, firstly, like our first album, we made independently, and we had it made with the intention of getting it signed to a label. So we didn't want to just make an EP to start with, and then, work from there. We wanted to do the big album to start with. We didn't want to waste what we considered wasting time on an EP. It's certainly not a waste of time. Lots of bands have started with an EP and they're great. And we've even done EPs later on in their career. And it's fine. It just suits whatever landscape they're dealing with at the time. You know what I mean? But we haven't come across that landscape yet where we've had to release like a track with anything less than 12 or 13 songs on it. But lately we have spoken about it mildly. Like we've thought about the idea because we've had a couple of songs at the moment that are basically finished. They're done. But we want them to be a part of something bigger. So we have had that talk recently where we've been like, oh, do we just release the ones we've got? They're sick, or like, do we do it properly, like we have since the start, And that's like, at the moment we're just trying to get a few more songs finished, so it's more of another 4th album,
Yeah, definitely. How are the boys? How is everybody?
Man,
I haven't checked in with anybody but you, really. You're the only one I can continue to talk to on a regular basis.
Yeah, no, man, they're all good. I feel the same way sometimes. They're also like we're also sporadic. Cozzy, he's a busy boy. He's an environmental an environmental scientist. That's
what?
his. Yeah.
Okay.
So he's always freelancing to big mining companies and stuff like that here in Australia, which is huge down here. And he's the guy that basically makes sure that they're complying with environmental restrictions and stuff like that. So he's got a big job. He's always flying everywhere. Even at the moment, Queensland's such a big state. It's about 3 times the size of Texas.
Oh well, holy crap!
There's people always, like flights in Queensland are still a regular thing. So he's always flying all over the place for work. So he's really busy. Reese is a fridge mechanic or a fridge mechanic apprentice at the moment, I think. So he's working hard on becoming a tradie in that. Kerrid's painting. So we can all build houses. We're all just tradesmen. I'm a plumber. I teach that now. So we can build you a house. And Kerrid's also doing a bit of a solo project thing too at the moment. He's doing more like sort of electronic singing, like where he's put the guitar down and he's picked the mic up and he's doing a bit of singing, kind of like Post Malone kind of stuff, that
hell yeah,
new age kind of real souls. He's a lyricist. He's an absolute genius at writing songs. So he's focused a bit of his energy on that lately, and he's sounding really good. So
there you go.
And then G, our drummer. You've never met him, man. We were with Tricky.
Yeah,
we were over in the States. Yeah, I'm still good friends with Tricky. He's awesome. But our sort of musical tastes were going different ways after we came back to Australia and wrote the next album. And he was just like, he wrote it with us, and then just sort of left the band after we finished it, when we released it. So he finished it off, and then he's in I'm not sure what band he's in now, but he's in another one. So he's still kicking around. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So that's everyone, man. Yeah, everyone's just doing life, hey?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of how we are. Andrew's delivering pizzas now. So he's doing that. He's also a sound engineer. He's been working front of house. He picked up a little trick from Greg and learned how to do some front of house. So he's working a couple venues here. We actually hire him to do our sound at any venue we play that'll allow a sound guy. So pay him a little bit extra on the top to help us out, because he knows what my band sounds like, and so we trust him to do that. Garen's now working in insurance. He's no longer the drummer, but he's been working in insurance now and doing that as a life thing. He's working with his dad, which is pretty cool. And then Matt is actually doing some graphic design work now, and is killing it. And his hair, dude, he grew it all the way out. Looks like yours. It's beautiful and blonde and flowing. He looks awesome, man.
Oh, that's sick, man. That's awesome. I was doing great.
Yeah, so I've been at least staying in touch with them. We had a very amicable break after we went out on tour with Seven Dust. That was our next tour that I did with them, and that was awesome.
We played a show with them, man. They're really nice guys, eh?
Yeah, they are awesome. Vinny is one of the funniest dudes I've ever met. He called me son the entire tour. How you doing, son?
How you doing, son?
Do you guys have plans of coming back to the U.S. when we, are allowed to have people in the United States?
Of course we are. We love it over there, man. If one of us won the lottery, we would move over there. In fact, a couple of years ago, we were even thinking about doing that anyway. At the time, my girlfriend was good friends with G's girlfriend. We're not together anymore, so they're not friends anymore. But at the time, we were all good mates and in relationships and stuff. And the girls were willing to come over as well and everything like that. But it just never took off, the idea. And I'm glad it didn't, because we would have been coming over there about a year before all this happened.
Yeah, shit.
So we were planning on going over there and just sort of, touring heaps as much as we can. So, man, any chance we get, we're coming back to the States.
Fuck yeah, dude.
But at the moment, like from what I've been told, it's all sort of, wives' tales and pie in the sky at the moment. But I've heard that it will be, unless they find a cure for this thing, I've heard that it's going to be until 2023 before we can fly internationally without quarantining.
Oh man.
Yeah. Providing everything goes right and this doesn't blow up again and that sort of stuff. Yeah, like it's got to die down enough that for that long before we can fly to another country and not quarantine. You know, like at the moment, I think New Zealand and Australia are negotiating like a travel bubble.
Okay.
Because at the moment, like Queensland, for example, you know, has like I said before, hardly any cases of COVID, and so does New Zealand. So we can have a travel bubble between us. But I think like before we can just start doing it internationally, like all around the world, they reckon another 2 more years. So, pretty brutal, hey, when you think about it.
That's insane. Yeah, my girlfriend's family lives in Canada and they have dual citizenship. So they're able, like her parents came down here, her mom comes here for her birthday every year. That's what I'm talking about. A little Tim Hortons action. Oh, they're gonna be so jealous. Timbits are the best. I love it. But that's the thing. Is like, so if you are a dual citizen of countries, you can travel freely, but you have to quarantine. Exactly. So I'm curious to see like when that changes and if that changes. If it's 2023, that's insane. I know that there's at least on the state side, there's been talks of a potential 2021 vaccine in the US. I don't know if that's anywhere else. I know that Europe is looking at one. Have you heard anything on your end about any of that?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. We've heard that there's one that's been created here. We've heard about the one that was created at Oxford, and there was a Russian one as well that I heard about. And like, I haven't really looked too far into it, but what I do know about vaccines is like it takes years to create these things and hone them down so that they're confident enough for, you know, that they'll work for human consumption. And they're just going to start pumping this thing out into people's suits. You know? And it's like, I don't know. I'm certainly not a tinfoil hat, you know, well, I am on some things, but this thing, I'm just like, man, this is just logic. Like, it's like, we're taking a big risk here, you know, like, will I do it? Probably. Yeah. If everyone else does, but like we're taking a big risk.
Well, and I think that that's part of what the conversation is right now with a lot of it. But it'll be interesting to see how much the world changes it already has, but how much more it's going to force us into some of these processes and practices that we've developed through the last 8-9 months. I mean, to be honest, I've been wanting to start this podcast for 4 years. So in July, I just fucking did, because I have the means and the area and the space and the opportunities to do it. And honestly, man, like, because of this technology, you and I are having this conversation right now.
Yeah, I know. It's awesome.
Yeah. But it also at the same time, like, there's some concerns that it's creating more antisocial behavior and things like that. And we've been having some issues, at least here, with people who aren't adapting well to this change. Are you guys seeing that? I mean, granted, your cases are significantly lower there, but are you guys seeing that in any way, shape, or form in Australia with mental health issues and stuff like that?
Big time, man. Yeah. They I don't know the figures, but I saw them the other day, and like the number of suicides this year in Australia compared to last year was astronomically larger. Like doubled or tripled kind of thing. And it's like, I think the number of deaths in Australia by suicide was as high or higher than the number of deaths from COVID. So it's like, well, and it was kind of like, it was set in a question that was set in like a tone of like, well, what's the point? Like, why are we fighting for this thing when people are literally, you know, getting affected by this in other ways, and you're not recording that as deaths as well, you know? Like, it's causing more death than we're saving, sort of thing, is what everyone's saying, you know? And it's true. So it has been a big problem here, man. Like I said before, I haven't really been affected by it that much day to day, but I have felt, you know, the pinch every so often when it comes to some things of my life, just like everyone else has. And it's like, geez, imagine like being in Melbourne right now, down in Victoria, which is the state down the bottom of Australia.
Yeah.
They are having a COVID outbreak at the moment, big time, and have been doing for the past 6 months. Like they've been, you know, getting like tens of thousands of cases down there and stuff. So, and they've only just started easing now. So they've basically been locked in their rooms for 6 months. You know what I mean? So it's very different, contrasting themes here in Australia between states. It's kind of like the Hunger Games. It's insane.
Well, and that's the thing here as well. We've seen like Colorado is in the bottom 5%. Like we're doing really well in terms of keeping cases below 5%. Death rates are down in Colorado specifically because we have a lot of people.
Weed, man. Well, everyone's got it, but you got it first.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And but that's the crazy thing is like people are saying that, you know, because we're following the rules, because we're setting things up, businesses are starting to open, things are starting to turn around, but it's still, you know, certain businesses are struggling. Day-to-day life has changed. I mean, I work from home now every day, which creates a bottleneck of like always being in front of a screen. It creates those stressors and things like that. But at the same time, I know that I'm fortunate. I know that I'm lucky. Similar to you, you have your trade, you're a tradesman. So you are essential. You have to work. You have to be present. Everybody needs a plumber. Yeah. I work in media traffic. Advertising still happens on television because everybody's watching television.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's interesting. Like my girlfriend works in tax. So she never her job wouldn't go away technically because you still have to pay taxes and you still have to do those things. Yeah. But like that's one of those things is like, not everybody has been directly affected by this, but in some way indirectly, because like you said, we've all kind of felt the pinch and we felt changes to our lives. What have you been doing to help kind of stay that frustration and stay maybe creative or work on something that's keeping you sane through all of this?
Man, good question. Yeah, like basically what have I been doing to pass the time, you know, throughout all this nonsense? Like I have taken up more playing of the acoustic guitar. I've been jamming the hell out of that. So that one. Yeah, dude. I bought a really awesome one off a friend of mine for very cheap. I got a Martin PA1, which is you know, usually like I think it's like $7,000 American or something retail.
Super nice.
And it's just such a nice guitar to play, man. I love it. So it's like a privilege to play. I want to play it every day. So I've been doing that heaps. And a couple of years ago, like last year or the year before, I thought about packing in my job and just doing like acoustic cover shows. You know, like just playing at pubs and stuff like that. I'm still going to probably do that once the restrictions ease a bit, because you can make bank doing that, man. Like just playing covers at local pubs and stuff, and do that four nights a week or 4 days a week or something like that, and you make enough for a full-time job. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of lucky I didn't do that because I would have, you know, had that rug pulled out from underneath me at the start of the year. So. But it's definitely something I'm probably going to do in the future, man. I'm going to probably do some solo stuff. That's what's on the horizon for old Blairsy. And that's what I've been working on in my spare time this year, like as opposed to years in the past. I've sort of been honing my guitar skills a bit. So yeah. Nice,
man. That's awesome. Yeah, that's a great way to stay creative and keep that flow going. I know in the United States, we've had all of our sports back. Do you guys have you got your Aussie Rules football back? Are the Broncos playing right now?
Yeah, dude. Oh, man. Oh, dude. The Broncos had a shocking year this year, man. We got our first wooden spoon.
Which is, I don't know what that means.
Sorry,
so.
Yeah, that's like last on the ladder. The bottom of the ladder. We got the wooden spoon this year, man. We started out at the start of the season, right? We had 2 games in normal regulation before COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Back in March, our restrictions started coming in at the end of March. So we had 2 weeks like no restrictions, and then they came in. And so we won those 2 games. We won the first 2 games. And so we went into COVID all confident, you know, like, it's all sweet. And then the NRL and the AFL, the Aussie Rules Football, they both went into like, you know, they stopped playing for, I think it was a total of about maybe 4 or 5 weeks. And then they came up with an idea to, you know, do it all in the one place, and, you know, all the players were COVID tested regularly, blah, blah, blah. So they managed to make it work, and the season started up again. And the Broncos won 1 game for the rest of the season. So that's it, man. We played.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and our captain, he had a shocker of a career. He was this really star-studded player, right? Darius Boyd's his name. He's been doing so good his whole career. Played for Australia, all that kind of stuff. And he's just had such a shocking 2 years. He should have retired 2 years ago. He's like 38 now. He's getting on a bit. And he drove us into the ground this year. Like, it wasn't just him. There was lots of other reasons why the Broncos sucked this year. Lots and lots of bad luck with injuries and stuff like that as well. But he had a shocking year. He was retiring at the end of this year. So his final year as captain, he got the Broncos their first wooden spoon, right? And, you know, Broncos have never had a wooden spoon before. We're such a prestigious club. We're the richest club in the league, all that kind of stuff, right?
Right.
And so it's a very shameful time to be a Broncos supporter. And he then decides to do a gender reveal because his wife's pregnant on the field after the game. So this was like last weekend. He did this just last weekend.
Oh,
right?
God,
And
no.
he did it with a football, right? Like it was like a fake football, and he kicked it and it exploded with glitter, right? And he had a girl. So there's all this pink glitter just went everywhere all over the footy field that they just got pumped on, right? Like the Broncos lost miserably in their last game. And then they did this gender reveal, and it's like he's just getting absolutely taken to the cleaners in the press at the moment. Like it's pretty funny to watch, actually. Like, man, you chose now to do a gender reveal. Your wife's not on the field for a start. It's just you and the footy boys.
Oh,
and then
God.
you get a football and you kick it in front of a crowd that are literally so ashamed of you. You know, we're all trying to, you know, think positively. Like, you had a great career. You're like, and, you know, don't shine a spotlight on this game tonight.
That's a cunty move if I've ever heard of one.
Oh yeah, it made front page on the paper the next day, kind of thing, you know. So.
Oh man.
The Broncos, like, so to answer your question, yes, the football has been back on, and Broncos did terribly. So next week is the first round of the finals. So that's right. So in 3 weeks' time is the grand final. So
Okay.
it's all heating up at the moment, actually. So it's good.
Nice. Yeah, we just crowned a Stanley Cup champion last night.
Yeah, Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay is nice. Your Canucks came out of fucking nowhere, boss.
Yeah, I know.
That was beautiful.
I hadn't been following them that much this season just because of, you know, COVID and everything. And then when it started back up, I was like, oh, wow, they're doing pretty good, actually. Holy crap. But, man, like anything, they get to the finals and then they choke. So
yeah. I'm an Avs fan. We should have been in the final, and we just got hurt again, like always.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because, like, that's been a huge change. It's like a wonderful distraction in a lot of ways is having those things back again and getting to watch sports again. I still need to come out and see a test and come watch a cricket test.
That's right. Man, I forgot that you were into test matches and cricket.
Yeah.
Like, dude, cricket is sorry, I'm coughing all over the place today. Cricket is such a good sport to watch. Like, there's so many variables to it. Test match cricket is like a game of chess, like, which sounds boring as hell, you know what I mean? But like,
I love chess though. It's fun.
Yeah, so do I. But it's like entertainment. Like, there's so many variables, you know. There's the state of the pitch on the day, you know, that, like, if the pitch is wet or not, how the humidity of the air will affect how the ball bounces, you know, like, it's so cool. And then if you just change the over rate, how many overs there are in a game, then the game completely changes, you know. Like, we've got the 2020 now, which is 20 overs each side, which is basically like a baseball match.
Okay.
And there's like, as you know, you're pretty interested in cricket. I'm pretty sure you'd be aware that, like, one over is 6 runs. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, 6 balls. So
Yeah.
six bowls is 1 over. So there's 20 overs per side in 2020 cricket, and because of that, it's so high intensity. Like there's the batsman's style changes. You know what I mean? Like they've got balls coming down at them, and they haven't got all day to hit them like they do in Test match cricket, where it goes for 5 days.
Right.
So they've got this game that goes for about 2.5 hours, 20 overs to score as many runs as they can. So it's literally like baseball. They just go for the big slog all the time, and it's entertainment. Like there's just so many sixes. And then when someone scores a 6, the fireworks goes off. It's like entertainment. It's a very completely different game to a Test match cricket, but it's still technically the same game. You know what I mean? It's such a cool thing, So that's starting up pretty soon.
And that's what's crazy is, like, there's so many different forms of the sport, but everyone's like, it's just baseball. It's like, no, it's not. It's way more than baseball.
Yeah, it's definitely not baseball. Like the only thing that is similar between that and baseball is there's a batter and a bowler. There's not even a bowler in baseball. There's a pitcher.
Yeah, it's a pitcher. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
been described as baseball on Valium. But like, you wouldn't say that about 2020 cricket. 2020 cricket's probably more intense, I think. So
yeah, I want to play a cricket video game. I got to find one. I'm sure there's one somewhere around there that I can hunt down.
They do exist. It's in my opinion, it's definitely not as fun as playing it.
Well, we don't have too many cricket pitches here, so that needs to change. That needs to change.
You can just play on the road.
Oh shit, that's true.
Yeah. You can just play on the road. It's just it would be good to have fielders. You know what I mean? So it'd be hard to field on the road. Oh, sorry, yeah, like on concrete, that would hurt. So
a little bit.
A little bit. Yeah. So you would have to. But yeah, you can make it work. I'm sure there's a cricket pitch somewhere in America.
I would not be surprised if there's one in maybe the East Coast, somewhere in the New England area. Wouldn't surprise me in the slightest.
Yeah, that's true. It's like the only cricket club of America or something like that. It's just a bunch of POM expats.
Because I know we have a lot of curling clubs in the United States. Most of them are in the Midwest. We have one in Denver, but it's too much. And I would join if I had an extra $300 a year that I could just throw out. But
oh wow, so it's like a prestigious kind of club, is it? It's not like I gotcha.
Yeah, because you got to pay for the brooms and stuff.
Of course, yeah. Like, is that a fun pastime, curling?
Kinda. I mean, I love it. It's one of my favorite Winter Olympic sports, just because it's like shuffleboard on crack, and it gives you an excuse to yell "Go!" for no reason other than just get the stone in the circle, man. Like, it looks way easier than it is, I'm sure. But
it's like I'm definitely not dismissing it as an activity. It would be really fun. I just am baffled why it's an Olympic sport.
Ballroom dancing's an Olympic sport.
Sorry?
Ballroom dancing's an Olympic sport.
Yeah, that's very true. I'm equally as baffled about that. Equally as baffled, Yeah. Like, if ballroom dancing is in there, pole dancing should be in there.
I can't argue that.
Like there's literally lots of like that's a whole industry. You know what I mean? Like pole dancing for fitness.
Oh yeah.
100%. And like most blokes also have an added reason as to why we are watching pole dancing as well. So everybody wins. It's a win-win for everybody.
Oh man. Yeah.
There's a presidential debate happening right now. They should throw that in as well.
Yeah, we didn't watch it because we were out at dinner, but we have do you have pedicabs, like guys on bikes with like a carriage behind it?
We not in Brisbane, but we do have them like in Gold Coast and stuff like that.
Yeah. So they sit outside a section of our street,
where the restaurant is, because with social distancing, the restaurants are now like moving out into the street, and they closed off a section of this area called Market Square. But there was a guy sitting out there just blasting it for everyone to listen to, and everyone's like, "We're just trying to enjoy our meal right now. Like, we don't want to watch the presidential debate. That's why we're not at home."
And there's a lot of people, I'm sure, that just don't really care, or they care, but they're just sort of fed up with the two people that the parties chose. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that just are done with it, so they don't want to listen to it. So
yeah, or not right now. Like, we've been so inundated with it for so long in America. I'm sure it's international news how much of a
we certainly have it. Like, I was literally watching the debate before. Like they were broadcasting it here. So
yeah, that's proof that it's crazy times right now.
Yeah.
So if I remember correctly, when we met, you were a fighter for a little while as well. Are you still doing anything with that at all?
Like boxing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I stopped after I went back for a while, and I got back into it just last year. So like nothing super crazy. I haven't had any fights yet, but I've been back training. Hopefully, maybe going to have a fight next year. That'll be pretty fun.
Nice.
Yeah. See how that goes. So at the moment, I'm just sort of having a bit of fun with it and practicing, getting a bit better and losing a bit of weight. So yeah.
See
what happens there. You know what I mean? It's such a fun sport because. Like for me personally, I got that body type where you look at a Snickers bar and I put on 5 kilos. You know what I mean? So, but so I've always got to make sure that I keep my cardio up and sort of stay pretty healthy, and it's fun to do that anyway. And boxing is really fun. It's awesome. You go there, it teaches you a lot more than just fitness. It teaches you discipline and all that sort of stuff. And it's healthy. It's healthy as hell. You do it 4 times a week. You can eat whatever you want. You know what I mean?
Because you're burning calories like crazy.
Yeah. And then the good thing about that sort of type of fitness is your body's burning so many calories after you've stopped training. You know what I mean? Like it's the thermogenic rating or whatever they call it. Like you're just burning so many calories sitting still 3 hours after you've already finished training. You know what I mean? So it's really fun. I love it. It's really cool. We've had a couple of really good boxing matches happen here actually lately. I don't know if they've gone international, but have you guys heard of a fighter called Jeff Horn?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, well, Jeff Horn, he's from Brisbane here. So he's sort of on the back end of his career now. He fought Manny Pacquiao a few years ago, and
that's right.
Won.
Yeah,
he beat him. that happened at Brizzy at the Broncos Stadium. Yeah. And then he beat a couple of really good Australian fighters like Anthony Mundine and people like that. And then he recently lost to Kostya Tszew's son, Tim Tszyu. So Tim Tszew's like I forget how old he is. He's like 21 or something like that. So he's super young. And Jeff Horn's about 35. I think he's my age, or maybe a year younger. So he's like 34, 35, and he just got waxed by a 21-year-old. So. It was pretty fun to watch. So, but I haven't did I hear through the grapevine that Floyd Mayweather is going to, or has agreed to a fight against Logan Paul?
Yeah. So it's been back and forth that they're finishing up contracts, but it sounds like Logan Paul's about to get murdered by Floyd Mayweather.
Is this actually going to happen? And then I heard that it's someone goes, oh no, but Logan Paul has a history in boxing. Apparently he's actually been boxing. I haven't been following him at all, so I wouldn't know. But apparently he's not this isn't the first time he's donned the gloves. He's got his own fight record apparently.
Yeah. So he's fought a couple of other YouTubers. I know he fought and lost to KSI a couple months or a year ago.
Yeah.
And then, but he's also aggressively trained and has a full boxing training facility in his house.
Right.
Yeah, and it's crazy. It looks like it's gonna be an exhibition match set for next year as of the 16th.
Holy shit. So this is happening.
Yeah. That's from DAZN. So it looks like DAZN's going to put it on too. So looks like De La Hoya is going to make a little money as well on the side.
Wow. That's insane. Man, Logan Paul is going to get snapped in half.
He's going to get danced around the ring and then pounded into submission. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even know if I want to watch that fight.
Are they even the same weight class? Like Logan Paul's pretty tall, isn't he?
I think so. Floyd would go up. I think he could manage
He's
it.
Gonna do it anyway.
He's going to do it anyway. It doesn't matter.
I could do it with another 100 million. Yeah, sure.
Another tax collector in Vegas will find him. It's fine.
Imagine if like Logan Paul just fully uses his reach, because he would have such a longer reach. If he just keeps using his reach and uses his like long range game and actually wins, like it's never going to happen.
No.
But like if he actually does, like what does that mean? Does that like exhibition match? Does that go on Mayweather's record? Like
I don't think so, because I think it's because he's not a certified like WBA fighter. I would assume that it probably wouldn't go on his record. But it looks like I was looking the 3 titles that popped up when I typed it in is KSI makes a absurd claim about Logan Paul before fight. Tyson Fury calls out Floyd Mayweather for the exhibition, and then another one about the fight. I think it's funny that Tyson Fury's like, Floyd, what are you doing?
He's making money, man. That's what he's doing. You know what I mean? Like I follow Floyd Mayweather on Instagram, and it's pretty entertaining to watch, you know what I mean? Like some of his posts are pretty inspirational, even though I don't like him. I like him as a fighter, but I don't like him as a person. He's a wanker.
Yep, fact.
But, he's sitting there like counting money, you know what I mean? Like just like counting stacks, you know? And it's like, that's his business. That's his game. That's his prerogative. That's what he wants to do. He loves boxing, but he's in the money-making business, you know what I mean? So he doesn't care who he's fighting. He wants to make the most money, you know what I mean? So, you know, other boxers are calling him out, but he's like, I don't give a shit. Like, he's making more money than those guys have earned in their whole life, you know? So
to dance around a ring for 5 rounds with a guy who doesn't have any business being in a ring with a professional boxer.
That's exactly right, man. Like, is it like scheduled for 12 rounds? He's only going to need 3. Yeah. You know, and the first 2 is because he just wants to say good day to the crowd for a bit and dance around the ring, you know?
Yeah.
And then, bam, left, right, good night.
Yeah, that's probably what it would be like. Speaking of YouTube, I happened upon about a year ago a pretty fucking funny Australian comedian. I think he's from Queensland, Isaac Butterfield. Have you heard of him?
Isaac Butterfield? No, I haven't.
Yeah,
I might know I might see the face, actually. I'm shocking with names. So but he's certainly got a household name here.
He's a huge, gigantic man. He played a little bit of footy. His dad was a footy player. But he's known for his big fucking beard and his aggressive comedy. Let me see if I can find who his dad is real quick. That might help. Yeah, he's known as the Buttsmarn. That's one of his nicknames. Oh, sorry, he's from New South Wales. That's why.
Oh, well, I've got a picture of him here.
Yeah.
Oh, that guy. Yeah, I know that guy. Yeah, I've seen a lot of that guy's videos. He does a lot of like real talk videos, kind of thing.
Yeah.
On pressing issues.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he uses some great vernacular. That's kind of why I wanted to bring him up. One of the things I've adopted is the phrase "fuck you to the moon," which is that an Australianism? Is that an Aussieism or what?
Fuck you to the moon. Yeah, I guess it would be. Like that specific phrase isn't like super duper popular here or anything, but it wouldn't be a surprise to hear someone say that, because like it's that style, I think, of insult where it's like an insult, outrageous place, like or a far distance, you know, like fuck you to the moon, you know? Like I hate you to the fucking sun and back, like that kind of thing. that style of humor here is quite popular.
Yeah, it's funny because like I've noticed that I'll catch myself saying it when I'm frustrated about something or with someone, and I'm like, oh man, am I like adopting? Is this cultural appropriation? Like, am I taking something from Australia? What's going on?
Any Australian is going to pull you up on cultural appropriation. That's for sure. I think we're going to laugh and be like, "Oh, he's trying to be like us." Like,
Yeah.
But if anything, we appreciate it because a lot of the time our vernacular is and vocabulary is usually met with a surprised reaction or sometimes in a negative way. Like, well, what did you just say? You know, and it's like, I said, "G'day, mate. How you going?" You know, like, and they're like, "What do you do?" So if someone wants to be like us, that's usually met with a very warm welcome.
Yes,
So
one of your cuss words is my favorite cuss word in the whole world that is not looked highly upon in the Americas.
does it start with a C?
Yeah, it sounds like a rock being dropped in a giant pond. Kunt, you know?
I've never heard it been described that way before. That's awesome.
Yeah, but it's just it's so versatile, and you can use it to mean positive things and negative things, and it has such a great feel to it. I'm just sad that it's not more widely used here.
Yeah, it is such a taboo word over there, isn't it? I think it's because it's like in your dialect, it's quite crass. It is quite a crass word to say in an American accent. You know what I mean? Whereas, but like I guess we're not any different. You know what I mean? So what about like, does your time slot allow this to be said heaps and heaps of times? Or?
Oh yeah, so all of my stuff is on YouTube, and then it's on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So I just have to put that E tag on it and like not appropriate for kids.
Well, then in that case, it's all good. So here in Australia, we say it like, you know, cunt. It's like, it's still quite a crass thing to say, like, "G'day, cunt, how you going?" But like, it's somehow down here, it's like the meaning of it has reversed. So you can say it, and the tone that you say it in completely changes its meaning. You know what I mean? Like, you could say to your best friend, right, "G'day, cunt, how you going?" And he'd be like, "Oh, my friend is here, and he has greeted me positively." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And whereas like you'd be like, "G'day, cunt."
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. And it's like, oh shit, I've done something wrong here. Like, just instantly, like, it's such a versatile word, you know? And like, a good cunt is someone that's great. You know what I mean? A shit cunt is someone that's terrible. Like, it's used as an adjective.
Yeah.
So many times, you know what I mean? And it's such a great word to use. I love it.
Yeah, and it's exactly like that's the thing that I've always appreciated about the word is it's the intonation that explains the difference, and the way it's used. See, I'm speechless. Like, that's how great of a word it is. It's powerful, and it's funny because we say things like, look at that motherfucker. Like, that motherfucker is our phrase for some stupid ass reason. And it doesn't make sense that it can be used in the same capacity.
G'day, motherfucker.
Yeah, it's just weird.
Like, that is something that you would say to your friend, but you would say it ironically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't say it in front of his mum.
No. It's just, it's ridiculous. It's funny to me though, overall.
In some cultures of Australian, some subcultures of Australian modern day tribes of Australians, that word can be said around your mate's mum. She won't care because she knows that you don't mean bad by it. You know what I mean? You're not using it as a noun. You're using it as an adjective. So, yeah, as a describing word rather than a something.
As a something, exactly.
Yeah, it's almost like it loses its meaning. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people in Australia acknowledge that a lot more than other cultures.
Well, and I think that's something America's never really been good about. We still have some of those Puritan ideals that came from the religiously oppressed that came over here. The 1700s. You know, that's part of problem, I guess.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't have an issue with it. If it bothers you, we choose when we are, we make those decisions ourselves. You know your company, know your audience. It's the key to even being a musician. Know your audience, gauge where you are, gauge what you're doing, and then you gauge what you say. I'm not going to have the same conversation with you as my girlfriend's parents.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I vibe with that. I agree 100%. A lot of people don't see it that way. A lot of people, like, I know a lot of people even that are like, this is me 100% of the time. That's it. It's like, nah, you don't have to say that around your grandma.
No.
You know what I mean? Like you can change a little bit, you don't have to show them your entire personality.
No, and code switching is the most common thing of humanity. Like, my conversation with you is not going to be the same conversation that I have with my friends from Canada or my friends from South Texas. I'm not going to have the same conversations with you and speak in the same tone with those people as I've interviewed baseball announcers, PR directors, other musicians, actors, actresses, the conversations with all of you have been different. It's just the nature of humanity. If you're the same person 100% of the time, that's not normal.
No, it's not normal at all. And you won't fit into society very well, to be honest. You know what I mean? You have to be adaptable in your day-to-day life. It's a part of being a well-rounded adult. You know what I mean? Like, if you literally don't change for anyone, then you're like, that's almost a disability. You know what I mean? Like you're not a very, like, what you would normally call a social retard or something like that. You know what I mean? It's a very derogatory thing to say, but it's like, if you can't control the situation you're in based on your own actions and the things that you say, then that's your problem, not the person that you're saying it to.
Correct.
I mean? So, yeah.
Correct. Well, my brother, it is 10 p.m. here, and some of us actually have to go to work tomorrow, unfortunately. So let everybody know where they can find you, where they can find A Breach of Silence, where to look for all your music and everything. It'll be on the screen with you when you talk here, and the floor is yours.
Yeah, too easy. Well, thanks for everything, man. I'm Blair Layt from A Breach of Silence. You can check us out on all of the digital platforms, Spotify, Apple Play, Pandora, all of those ones, on YouTube and stuff like that as well. Eclipse Records, type in them, you'll find us all on there as well. If you want to check us out like through a website, then we've got a whole bio and profile on the Eclipse Records website, so check us out through there. And if you need to buy any merch or CDs or anything like that, you can find all that through the Eclipse website as well. So thanks a lot for everything, man.
No problem, brother. Thank you so much. It is always a pleasure to see your beautiful face. I miss your voice. I miss seeing you every day for 6 weeks. I miss your butt. I do want to leave on one story, and it's my favorite story from the tour. It was Carad's 21st birthday. We were in Denver at the Marquee. Cosgrove walks in. Kazi walks in and does a speech inside of a Bud Light box. Do you remember that night as clearly and as vividly as I do?
No, I think you might remember it a bit more vividly, but I remember it happening, yeah. What did he do inside the box?
So all of us are on the tour bus with Drowning Pool. We're on the tour bus just outside of Denver. We're heading to, I believe we were going to Grand Junction because we were starting the western slope of the tour. And Carrot had just done a shoey.
That's right.
In honor of his 21st birthday in America. That meant he could legally drink. And and Kazi, who is already 3 sheets to the wind, it was on his soapbox, standing inside of a I think it was a Coors Light box or a Bud Light box. And he goes, I just want to let all you guys know that when I bought my first Jeep and I was driving around in Australia on the wrong side of the road in my first Jeep, I was listening to Sinner, and it's the only record I've ever loved. That was 12 tracks of just pure fucking emotion.
That's right. He had a big drunken fangirl moment.
And I just remember sitting there with Andrew going, what the fuck is happening?
But it was like one of those moments where we bonded on that tour. Like that was that in like Seattle and Ohio and fuck everywhere, dude. Like that tour sits in my memory forever. From you teaching us Australian slang, you know, Root and Sheila, to you know, just the memories of cold cities and places we potentially could have died, like in Ohio with the white barn behind the venue.
Yeah. And don't go at the back or the Timberwolves will get you.
Yeah.
Like, far out, man. Fostoria.
Fucking Fostoria. And then Wisconsin, the only place I've ever heard silence for real.
Yeah, that's it, dude. It was crazy, like how you could just drive from one place and it's so different to the next. That country is insane, man. I love it. But I had the best time on that tour as well, man. I think back to that tour all the time. I had such a good time. Like the bands were such good to vibe with. Like Drowning Pool were awesome. You guys were awesome. Like a Storm was sick as well, even though they were only there for half the tour, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just such a good time of my life.
Yeah. Hold on. I want to show you something really quick. Give me 1 second.
Nice.
Do you remember this?
Yeah.
So I finally got it framed like last year.
Oh, sweet.
So you are down here.
Yeah, that's right. There we go.
So yeah, I got it framed, and it was one of the first things I'm moving in here at the end of the month officially, and it's one of the first things that I brought with me. So
that's awesome, man.
Yeah, man.
Happy to be a part of that. That looks great. Framed and everything.
Yeah, it's awesome, and I just thought I would pull that one out and show it to you real quick before we call it a night.
Yeah, man. No, thanks for that. Thanks for framing it too. That's great to be a part of. Cheers.
Yeah, man. It's one of my favorite memories, and now I see it every single day. So.
That's awesome. Shit, yeah. Well, it's been great chatting to you, man. Appreciate the call up.
Definitely, brother. Let's do this sometime off air. Let's catch up when we can.
Keen as, bro. Keen as for sure.
Definitely, brother. Take care. Peace.
See ya. Bye.
It almost feels like someone else is living my life. 'Cause it almost